I want to call the May 4th, 2017 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting to order. Commissioner Wathen, would you lead us in a prayer and a pledge?
Yes. Please bow your heads. Dear God, our Father, thank you for all the gifts that you have bestowed on this great country and this community. Please protect our military, our police, our firemen, and all of our first responders. Help us so that we will never take them for granted. Thank you for all of our dedicated employees for the county and for all the things that they do to work so hard to make our lives better. Please protect the poor and mistreated children and allow their burdens to be softened. Dear God, our Father, we ask that you help the communities all across the United States to stop the destruction of our families. Please give the members of this fiscal court the wisdom and the courage to make good decisions that will please you. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner Wathen. We must start a little early since Austin just came in. You don't think I'm going to let you get away with that, do you? All right, Terry, are you ready?
Yes. Public hearing, number 1, public hearing to discuss county road aid and local government economic assistance.
Mr. Hendricks.
This is a public hearing to discuss the purpose for which we are using the local government economic assistance funds and the county road aid. In the budget amendment that will be, or the budget ordinance that will be presented to the court tonight, the budget assumes that all those monies are used for maintenance and repair of county roads and bridges. We had a discussion about that during the work session, and at this point the floor is open for anybody who wishes to make a public comment.
Anyone from the public have a question or comment about the use of those funds? Doesn't appear to be. Since there is no public comment, commissioners, any question or comment from you? Then I would declare the public meeting closed. Let's go ahead with the rest of our meeting.
Consideration for presentation. A, proclamations, Children's Mental Health Awareness Day, Mental Health Awareness Day, and Older Americans Month.
Okay, the first one is Children's Mental Health Awareness Day. Whereas addressing the complex mental health needs of children, youth, and families today is fundamental to the future of Daviess County, Kentucky, and whereas mental health is necessary to overall health and well-being, and challenges to sound mental health can affect anyone regardless of race, gender, class, or religion, and whereas the need for comprehensive coordinated mental health services for children, youth, and families places upon our community a critical responsibility, and whereas it is appropriate that a day should be set apart each year for the direction of our thoughts toward our children's mental health and well-being, and whereas Kentucky Partnership for Families and Children Incorporated, through its unique approach to serving children and adolescents, is effectively caring for the mental health needs of children, youth, and families in our community. Now, therefore, I, Daviess County Judge Executive Al Mattingly, do hereby proclaim May 4, 2017 as Children's Mental Health Awareness Day in Daviess County, and urge all citizens to recognize the importance of children's mental health. The next proclamation I'm going to read is for Mental Health Awareness Day. Whereas mental illness is real and prevalent, and promoting mental health is essential to a community's overall health and well-being, and whereas at some point in one's life, 1/2 of the nation's population will be diagnosed with a mental illness, and whereas we should feel comfortable talking about and, when necessary, seeking mental health support, and whereas prevention and early identification and intervention are effective ways to reduce the burdens of mental illness, and whereas with early effective treatment, those with even severe mental illness can progress to recovery and lead full lives, and whereas all too often nonviolent mentally ill people are by default provided custodial care in jails and prisons. Now therefore, I, Daviess County Judge Executive Al Mattingly, do hereby proclaim May 2017 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Daviess County and urge all citizens to promote mental health and well-being for all. And we have Michelle Hickman. Yep, Michelle, come forward. I'm going to give both of these to you, and if you want to say a few words, just go up to the mic, make sure your green light's on. You're welcome to speak.
Thank you very much for doing this. This month, we're going to focus on the homeless and making sure they get information about mental health services and in the area. And for today, for Children's Mental Health Day, we worked with the Y and with some schools in Ohio County on making an I am wall. And they put the good, positive things about themselves on the wall and to promote good self-esteem.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for what you do in our community. The next item will be an Older Americans Month proclamation. I've asked Commissioner Wathen, since he serves as liaison to the, now what's the new name?
Elizabeth Monday, no.
The Monday Activity Center.
Monday
I
Activity
knew I'd
Center.
catch him with it.
Monday
The
Activity
Center. So Commissioner Wathen?
Sorry about that, Dana. Whereas we fully realize and appreciate the great importance of older Americans in this community and their past contributions in making our community what it is today. And whereas we fully realize and appreciate the great importance of older Americans in this community and their past contributions in making our community what it is today, we have a duplicate there. Whereas many older Americans continue to be vital and actively interested in all phases of life in our community. Whereas we publicly acknowledge these many contributions and responsibilities to older Americans and pledge our support to this group in a greater and more efficient manner. Whereas the Elizabeth Monday Center encourages active participation of older Americans. Whereas Daviess County Judge Executive Al Mattingly does hereby proclaim May 2017 as Older Americans Month. Want to come in?
Have Dana come forward and.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for all the support you give the Monday Center and the seniors here in Daviess County. We're working real hard this year and particularly this month to make sure that we meet all the diverse needs of the seniors that we have. We're growing leaps and bounds. We've grown by 22% in just the last 2 months. So with your all's help, we're making a dent, and we hope to keep our programming strong and make sure that we're meeting their needs. So thank you again.
Well, Dana, thank you for all you do since you've taken over down there and started ramrodding that outfit. It really has grown, and I think the number of services offered by the Monday Activity Center has grown as well. And I think, I assume Sim is still the board chair.
No, Joe Mason is our board chair. He's here with me.
Okay, Joe. Well, I know Sim really took a big interest in it, and I know Joe Mason, I've known him a lot longer than we care to remember, don't we? And I know that Joe will do a good job as well, so thank you for what you do.
Thank you. And our name just recently changed, in all fairness.
Yeah, George reminded me of it, but I knew that was a test for him. Okay, next item. And you guys are welcome to stay for the meeting, or you can go ahead and leave. It's up to you.
Item number 3, consideration for approval. A, minutes of the April 20th, 2017 meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, you've had a copy of the minutes in your possession for some time. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
B, all claims for all departments.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Again, Commissioners, you've had a copy of all the bills due and payable by Daviess County Fiscal Court in your possession for some time. Any questions of the treasurer? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
C, fund transfers.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Hendricks.
The first transfer fulfills the annual requirement to fund the solid waste closure and post-closure fund. So request permission to transfer $162,435 from the operating fund to the closure fund and $33,481 from operating fund to the post-closure fund. The second transfer is $1 million from the general fund to the road fund in agreement with the court's recent action on the budget amendment.
Question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
D, MOA with DLG for Friendly Village.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Hendricks.
In order to fulfill the court's intent to provide co-severance funds to the Friendly Village project, there were a number of steps that had to be accomplished. The next step is this memorandum of agreement between us and the state of Kentucky to provide up to $50,000 of that co-severance fund. This is a standard document with them when we use those funds. It lays out the parameters of the grant and the actions that we must take. And I've reviewed it. It is in order. I would recommend approval.
Commissioners, as you recall, Friendly Village is one of the package treatment plants that's failing, and we've been working to get our Kentucky Infrastructure Authority loans, CDBG grants, and this is part of that package that we put together to lessen the impact and burden on those citizens. Any question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
E, annual standing order to pre-approve certain recurring expenses during fiscal year 2017-2018.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and second. Mr. Hendricks, seems to me that we do this every year.
Yes, sir. This is an annual order that the court puts in place. This is effective for the new fiscal year that begins July the 1st. The reason for this is that payroll and utilities do not line up with court pay dates, and this authorizes us to go ahead and make those payments. I recommend approval.
Question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
F, annual standing order granting the county judge executive authority to sign and execute court-approved documents during fiscal year 2017-2018.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Mr. Hendricks, this doesn't say that I can sign them without them being approved. They have to be approved in court, right?
Yes, most of the actions that the court takes, Jenny adds on that to grant you or me approval to sign the documents related to that. This is a standing order to cover in case they forget to add that line.
Okay. Question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
G, apply for the 2017-2018 waste tire grant.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Mr. Smith.
This is an annual grant that we apply for. Last year we received $4,000. We use this grant to help cover the cost for tires that we pick up off the sides of roads, and also for a program to take tires from stockpiles.
This is not the big grant that comes around every so many years, is it?
No, I mean, I think what you're thinking about is where the state comes down and has
Yes.
their own
Yeah.
day. But no, it's a small grant that we get every year. As I said, mainly it's to cover the cost when the road department and others find tires at the side of the road.
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
How do they determine what the amount's gonna be for the grant?
It's probably done on a county by county basis, that every county gets the same amount of money.
Okay.
Any other question or comment? Yes, sir.
David, this is just a one-time, isn't it, like on a Saturday where everybody can bring those tires? Is
That's a different program that the
Oh.
state does direct. This is a program where we get the money, and it's for us when we go out and get tires.
Okay.
So as I said, the example is we will have times, I'm sure Mark, I'd say probably once a month at least, he gets called out because we've had citizens' concerns or complaints about some tires at the edge of the road. Well, this covers the cost for us to dispose of those tires that he gets.
This may not cover the total cost. We might have $10,000 worth of expenses a year, but this would cover 4,000 of that 10. If we ran out of the grant money, we would continue to
Yes.
to provide that service. Any other question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
H, declare surplus inventory and include said items in the 2017 county auction listing.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Mr. Johnson?
Yes, Judge. In front of you is a list of items that have been presented by each department as surplus inventory for auction disposition. We plan on holding the auction on May 10th at 10 a.m. to be conducted in-house by county employees. All items have been inspected and their condition and current use have been noted and recorded. Any items not sold will continue to be held by the county as surplus until a suitable method for disposition is found. I recommend approval.
Claude, there's no need to read each individual item.
No, there's not, Judge. We put that in there.
Any question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
I, award bid number 9, 2017, detention center roof replacement, B2 and B3.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Mr. Johnson?
Yes, Judge, we explored options of both modified bitumen and TPO membrane roofing for buildings 2 and 3 at the detention center. TPO is substantially cheaper and generally lasts 5 to 10 years longer than the modified bitumen. The only issue is controlling traffic on the roof, which in this case will not pose a problem. The fiscal court received 3 bids. The bid of Midwest Roofing of Evansville, Indiana is the lowest and best evaluated bid in the amount of $276,550 for the TPO membrane. Midwest had no exceptions to our specifications. I recommend award.
Jordan, isn't Midwest the one that's going to do the roof here as well?
That
on
is
the
correct.
courthouse?
Mhm.
Okay. Commissioners, question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
J, advertise the following annual bids.
Can I have a motion, Commissioners?
Move to approve.
I have a
Second.
motion and second. Commissioners, this is just a request to bid. Mr. Johnson, would you tell us what we're doing here?
Certainly, Judge. These are annual service contracts that pivot on the fiscal year. They're used by all county departments. In most cases, unit rates are collected, and they serve as a catalog for our employees to be used based on availability and lowest rate. In other cases, a single bidder is selected. This is for advertisement only. I recommend approval.
Okay, this is bid number 10, 2017 through bid number 17, 2017, and it's for various things that we use regularly. Any question or comment? Question or comment for the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
K, advertise the following bids. Bid number 18, 2017, new truck weighing scales for landfill.
Let's go ahead and look at the other one as well.
Bid number 19, 2017, relocation of Sheriff's Office radio equipment.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Mr. Smith, I'm gonna let you explain. I think you know about the truck weighing scales, what's going on there. Or Jordan, is it you?
He could,
Matter.
it doesn't matter, but the scales are actually original to the opening of our contained landfill, so they're about 20 years old, and we are having a lot of problems with them at this point. I'd say at least once a month the scales are going down, and we have to call someone in to repair them. So it's time to go on and get this done.
Okay. The second item on there is the relocation of Sheriff's Office radio equipment. Mr. Johnson, tell us what we're doing there.
Yes, Judge. Our Sheriff's Department radio hub is located on a privately owned radio tower at 2035 East Parish Avenue. We have held a lease with the owner since 1996. This was around the same time that 911 dispatch was being centralized, and at that time the rental rate was preferable to the cost of relocation. The rental rate has risen to an amount that is no longer acceptable, and this bid will simply explore relocating this equipment hub to a government-owned tower. After relocation, there will be no rent associated with it, and this would allow for complete and total access to the county's equipment at any given time. Certain restrictions apply to the current scenario. So this will be a definite improvement. It is for advertisement only, and I recommend approval.
Okay. This, the government-owned is actually the city tower on top of the hill there at Chautauqua Park, where their tower is. I sent a letter to the mayor requesting their approval to allow us to co-locate with them. They came back with some, as long as we met the guidelines by Paul Nave, the 911 director, they were fine with it. So I want to say thank you to the city for allowing us to do that. Any question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
L, hire Colton P. Lanham as a seasonal laborer in the Department of Public Works effective May 22nd, 2017.
Move to approve.
I have a motion and second. I think this is going to Mark into your office. Is this a replacement? Is this a new? Tell me what's going on.
This is the one of the annual
Interns.
interns for the road department.
Okay.
They supplement our flagging crews and driving crews. That allows our guys to do the more
Mr.
intense.
Lanham here tonight?
He is not.
Okay, well, welcome aboard anyway if you're approved. Any question or comment, commissioners? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
4, ordinance. A, first reading of KOCA 92, 2017, 4, 2017. 2017-2018 Daviess County Fiscal Court Budget.
Gentlemen, this is the first reading, so we don't need a motion or a second. Mr. Hendricks, would you do the honor?
Yes, sir. Before I read the budget, I would just say that the assumptions underlying the budget as discussed in the work session is that there are no additions in tax rates, there are no additional tax revenues or taxes, and then there's no additional debt. The budget summary is the general fund. I'll read the appropriation. There will be a revenue of exactly the same amount. $25,097,169 for general fund. Road fund, $4,457,334. Detention center, $8,392,220. LGEA fund, $592,000. Bond fund, $3,965,000. Solid waste fund, $17,419,000. Economic Development Fund, $1,504,000. The Health Insurance Fund, $4,200,000, for the total appropriation of $65,626,723. This is the first reading. We'll have second reading. If we get approval back from DLG, we'll hold that on May the 23rd.
Commissioners, any question or comment? Well, let me say I want to thank each and every one of you for your help as liaison to the various department heads in coming up with what I think is another good budget. Mr. Hendricks, thank you for you and I going back and forth over some of the items. I think we have a good budget that addresses the needs of the community, the needs of our county, and it does not go beyond the revenue stream that we have coming into the county. Next item, I'm sorry, any question or comment? Question or comment by the public? Okay, next item.
Number 5, consideration for discussion. A, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court.
We're going to hold our streak. All right, none. Next item.
B, public comments.
Okay, this is the time in our meeting which we ask the public to come forward, identify themselves. They're welcome to speak on anything that's other than what was on the budget. Before, I know we have some folks out here to speak. Before they speak, commissioners, what I would like to do, I think I know what they're here to speak about. You know, the state of Kentucky allowed counties in and of themselves to kind of write their own alcohol laws. As a matter of fact, you know that we have revised ours and now allow the sale of liquor on during election day in order to make a lot of the businesses who are located outside the corporate limits of the city competitive. After the city had passed their ordinance, I have had several letters, emails, and conversations with folks requesting that we consider it. I have had Jenny prepare an ordinance that takes into account trying to keep those businesses located outside of the corporate limits competitive. We've also had a request by O.Z. Tyler, a distiller, who, as you're aware, has now opened up the old Charlie Medley distillery, and they're trying to become established on the Bourbon Trail, and they would like to be able to offer samples to the folks that come in and sell some prepackaged items. So we have an ordinance that what I'm going to do is get a copy to each of you to have you look at it and try to answer any questions that you have, and be prepared to try to perhaps have first reading at our next meeting on the 23rd, with final reading on the 1st of June. I think that's about as fast as we can go. So with that being said, I'm certainly welcome anyone here to speak on that issue if you want to come up and talk to us. But we do recognize the need to keep our folks who are outside the corporate limits competitive. And I also, Mr. Vessels, you were here and you talked about some of the folks who are buying in other counties around the store that you once had, and I certainly understand that. But you're welcome to come up and make a brief statement if you'd like. Just identify yourself.
Yeah, my name is Mark Vessels. I'm the former owner of Vessels Mini Market in Whitesville. We sold the store back in January, and I'm here representing the new owner. He could not be here tonight. And I say we, I've had that store for 25 years, but they just want to be competitive, like you said. And another thing that concerns me is the confusion, because I read an article on April the 3rd in the Messenger Inquirer when Larry Condor, the city commissioner, said that the Marathon Station on Highland Point, which is across from Highland School on 54, they would not be able to sell alcohol, and yet the Value Liquor across the street could sell alcohol. I was in that store on 54 on Sunday, and he was selling alcohol. Now, one of two things. Either he was selling illegally, and I'm not trying to get him in trouble, or they were mistaken. Mr. Condor was mistaken when he said that they were in the county. So to me, it just alleviates some confusion as well. And like I was telling you earlier, not only does it hurt us on the beer sales, but then, you hit the gas, the cigarettes, and everything. So
sure. Just
wanted to try to get a level playing field.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Mr. Even Steven.
Yes, sir. I'm Steve Fulkerson with Even Steven Neighborhood Markets. I'd like to reiterate what Mark said. The stores in the city being able to sell beer in one store 1 mile down the road has a detrimental effect on our revenue. So in order to make a level playing field, I suggest that we make it countywide. I think it's time we get with the times. You can go to Bowling Green, Louisville, and other cities and buy beer on Sunday. You can even go to Beaver Dam now and buy beer on Sunday. So I suggest we highly consider that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to comment? Anyone have any comments about anything else that they would like to approach? Okay. Next item.
C, comments by Daviess County Fiscal Court.
Mr. Caslin.
Pass.
Mr. Wathen.
I think I'll pass.
Mr. Colger.
Yeah, I had a very expensive cake Friday night that I think the Whitesville Lions Club, I think they netted somewhere around $17,000 or so, and I tell you, each bite of that cake is very expensive, and I know the judge, you bought an expensive one too as well.
You didn't buy a $17,000 cake.
I did not, but I did buy a $300 one, and that's
I know
pretty.
you're Diamond Jim sitting down there, but
Yeah.
I was starting to wonder about you.
But it was a good event, good for the Wendell Foster Center, and we're glad everybody came out, and as well as today for the prayer service here. They had a large turnout, and was glad to see everybody here today.
Right. Okay, just a couple comments. First of all, the court will meet again May 23rd, 2017 at 5 p.m. That is normally, what's today, the 4th? 11th, 18th would normally be our meeting date, but we're going to meet on the 23rd of May. So that's a change. At that time, we will also hold a Daviess County Public Improvement meeting following our meeting. We have to, I forget what we're supposed to do with them. Oh, it's the Judicial Center, isn't it? We've got to transfer, the Improvement Corp has to transfer the property and the building back to us. So
Yes.
there will be just shouldn't take more than a minute, yeah, at most. There is a joint conference, the magistrates and judge executives, coming up in June. I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the HARP company out here, the folks who provide us with our voting machines and assist us. They will be there. Thank you guys for being at the meeting tonight. I attended I went on a trip with the Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development, and several business folks from the Daviess County community to Washington, D.C. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of last week. We met with Brett Guthrie, our representative. We met with Rand Paul, Senator Mitch McConnell, and the most important person that we met with was Secretary Elaine Chao. She's Secretary of the Transportation Department, and it was an excellent, excellent meeting. Jordan, I don't want to put you on the spot. Can you tell us how our web page is progressing and what's going on there? I really don't mind putting you on the spot, but
No, we are in the process of bringing it up live. We're still working on our intranet. If you go to our old domain name, daviessky.org, you will be redirected to the new site. I would say about 95% of the content is up to date, and we will be finishing that up over the weekend and into the beginning of next week.
okay. Anything else, commissioners? If there's no other business to be brought before Daviess County Fiscal Court without exception, we're adjourned.